Hey guys, it's Zav. So today we have another analysis paralysis. This time I do things a little bit different. I'm not going to be able to stream tonight at 7 p.m. So instead I decided to record this and then I'm going to be uploading it and taking advantage of the Twitch broadcast feature that I just recently found out about. So I'm going to be recording this right now, and then as you guys are watching it, it's going to be already, pre-recorded or whatever. So I'm not going to be able to look at your chat and respond, of course. But I still put the same effort into analyzing, and you guys will still be able to take something away from this session today. All right, so today we're going to be analyzing Smug versus Daigo from last week's Eleague set. Now, this was a really dope set. There was a lot of things going on, a lot of elements that we actually learned from our Footsies series that we've gone over together over the past couple of weeks. So I'll be able to demonstrate specific moments in the set where certain things happened and certain concepts really stick out. So we're going to begin today talking about the two characters that are on the screen. We're going to be talking about Guile and Balrog. So if we look at Guile, Guile is a zoning character. He's going to want to create an obstacle course on the screen, and that obstacle course is between him and his opponent. So as the opponent is trying to navigate and close the distance, that's where Guile's getting his damage from. He's not getting damage from the fireball, he's getting damage from punishing the attempts on the other side of the fireball to close the gap and get into their effective positioning. So that's how Guile will naturally get a lot of his damage. That's universal. So that's against any character, against a Geef, against a Cammy, anything like that. It's not to say that they have to play like that, but that's just going to be like the core strategy of what a Guile player does. Okay, so that's a zoner playstyle too. So we have Balrog. Balrog is a rushdown character by design, so he wants to be in, he wants to get all of his damage in close proximity because that's where he's going to get a bulk of his damage, and he's going to increase his pressure as he closes the gap. All right. Excuse me. So if you start the match off at this spacing that you can kind of see like Guile and Balrog at right now, before it goes into the actual full screen of the match, you see that Guile is at a position where he can Sonic Boom and he can still flash kick the jump in, but Balrog is at a range where the most damage he'll probably get at this positioning is from a jump in, which is still a big commitment, or a dash punch, which is he has to sit stationary and then obviously he has to let it rip from that spacing. But if Guile walks back, he can whiff punish it. So naturally, at this spacing, at the start of a match, Guile is actually winning. Unless you're factoring in, like, they have super bar or something like that, then that changes the dynamic, because Balrog could react to a fireball with the super. But if we're talking about just, they both start off with 0 bars, no V-trigger. Right now, Guile is winning, because he's at the position he wants to be at. Balrog isn't. Okay, so Balrog, what he's going to want to do is he's going to want to immediately take away that advantage so that he can get started. How does he do that? He wants to move forward. He wants to get into a range where he can react to fireball with V-skill. All right, and then when he V-skills, he's now in a grab range 50-50 type of mix-up, and now Guile is he's on his heels and he doesn't want to be there, obviously, right? Especially because he's a charge character, so his reversal requires him to sit still. You can't just like mash it, like a Cammy or Ryu or Ken, where they can just input a motion. Okay, so the con of Balrog moving forward, though, of course, is that we just said he's a charge character, so if he is moving forward, he loses charge. So then he won't have access to a dash punch unless he's hiding it behind his normals or block stun, which of course that still makes him static to a degree. All right, so Guile's gonna want to punish the forward movement with normals as opposed to fireballs for the most part, because the normals will be faster and they'll be less likely to get crush countered, right? So he'll do stand medium kick, he'll do sabot kick, things like that. Fireballs are a lot slower on startup, so you take into account that it's easier to get crush countered. And, well, depending on the crush counter button, of course, because the hitboxes and all that stuff, all these interactions matter. But just to keep it simple, if he were to throw a fireball, he has to deal with a lot more potential repercussions, because he could jump in on him, he can crush counter him, he can use an anti-fireball, a property move like V-skill, right? So normals would be better because he can do a normal and still potentially anti-air. If he does a low forward and Balrog were to jump, he could still have the flash kick ready and flash kick, okay? So that's something to be mindful of. So Guile's going to want to punish the forward movement with those normals. And then once he has a normal that lands on block or on hit, it's still good for him, because then he can kind of condense the sequence into a bunch of like boxes. And each box is a set action. And these actions he can basically just toggle between. So that way he keeps the Balrog guessing. All right, so he's gonna want to do a button on block, and then with behind that button he immediately would charge Fireball, and then he would decide how does he want to go about that block stun. Does he want to transition into a zoning style, or does he want to continuously press buttons, or maybe he wants to like tap him once and then kind of whiff punish and get a knockdown and then put a Fireball, which would be like the safest option, right? Because if he does button into Fireball, then if the Balrog player were to catch up to that rhythm and he was keen, he could just be like, all right, I'm gonna just block this Sabat kick at this range at max distance after this string, and then I'm gonna jump because I noticed that you always Fireball. Of course, but the person that is determining the the block stun, they're usually at advantage in terms of the mind game because they're the one that has initiative. So that's obviously something you don't want to fall back to. You don't want to always try to react to what your opponent's doing, but that's just another way to go about neutral and mind games and stuff like that. All right. So, okay, so we'll talk about playstyles really quick. So if we look at Smug, Smug is a more defensive Balrog in neutral at least. So he has a Bulldog playstyle, which is like he does a lot of walking and crouching, and he's blocking. He puts a lot of one-frame blocks in between his movements. So it's a lot harder to actually hit him moving forward because he is constantly adding blocks to his movement before he commits to things, all right? So you can still hit him, but your timing has to be a little more varied, all right? So, once he gets the knockdown, of course, his offense is amazing, and he is able to just put so much pressure on his opponent that regardless of how expertise they are, he can make you look like you're a novice. All right, so that's how he plays, and he turns basically these defensive opportunities into offense. That's why you'll see like when he blocks a button, he'll do a delay button because the delay is so that if you continue with another button immediately, he would block it. But if you try to use that first button's block stun to try to transition, let's say if I'm playing Akuma and I do crouching strong and then I dash up after crouching strong, his delay button would catch me on the delay dash. So the way he plays is that he plays so he can block immediate things, but he can also punish potential delays. The delays would be the bigger movements because they're bigger for a reason, right? They take longer to start, so that would cover the delay. So when he does like a delay crouching strong at the end of a string, it's so that if you dash right into it, and then he turns that into offense with very little risk behind it. But if you're really keen and sharp and you're aware of that, then you can use that to his advantage. You can use that to just close the gap a little bit and then whiff punish the delay button. Okay, so and then Daigo, of course, Daigo is more active in terms of when you compare Giles, he's more active in a sense of zoning and normals. And if I were to look at somebody like Knuckle is more active in movement. So Knuckle is gonna dash more, he's gonna jump more, he'll back dash more, he'll do like the bigger like movements without the buttons. But so he's like a lot harder to read in ranges in my opinion. But Daigo is more solid in terms of like he strings together all of his intentions with each button, and it creates this narrative, and that's what he excels at because he has so much experience and he's a vet, he's a legend for a reason. So that's how I would look at Daigo, as that he's active as a guy, he is aggressive, but in terms of not movement, but more so normals and zoning. All right, so like if he has a read on you, he will go for the normal, or he'll go for the fireball in place to counter poke you or something like that, whereas Knuckle would do the big move. He would jump on top of you or something like that, right? Not to say that they don't do either or, but that's just how I see them in terms of which one they consistently lean towards. All right, so let's begin this match. All right. All right. So you see how Smug, he just kind of does that back fist, or that well, it looks like back fist, but that's stand fierce, I believe. When he does that, he does the walk crouch with it, and that walk up crouch is just to kind of sell him a fake rhythm, right? Like he's crouching and he's seeing. Remember we talked about when people crouch, they're usually looking for something, right? So he's crouching and he's showing Daigo, hey, I'm looking for something. And now Daigo sees that and he's like, okay, maybe you're trying to walk forward. So he tries to go stick out a button, which you see right there. He tries to do Sabat kick and he gets crush countered. So you can already see like the mind game at work of what we talked about in terms of how he's going to want to close the gap, but he's going to want to punish Daigo for trying to stop him from closing the gap. That's as simple as I can put it. Smug is trying to stop. Daigo from stopping him from closing the gap. Anytime Daigo tries to stop him and keep him away, he's gonna try to punish the way he tries to keep him away, basically. Right. So he's jumping back in the corners because he's trying to catch him potentially doing a dash punch. So right there, that was when he does the sweep right here. The reason why he can go for it and be pretty comfortable while doing it is because he has the V trigger, and if he blocks the first hit, then he can just cancel into V trigger, and then he's plus. He has advantage, and he can just Sonic Boom and push Balrog away. I think that's why he picks the V trigger one in this matchup, especially, as in case he gets cornered, he can turn that defensive position. He can create a bigger gap between him and Balrog by just getting the blocks done and canceling into the V trigger fireballs. Now he has him cornered, which is really good. This is where Daigo would be more aggressive because he can take advantage of the fact that Balrog can't move back. Fundamentally speaking, when you are in the corner, you can't really walk out of range. You can only move out of range one of two ways: by moving forward or jumping out. And that's basically it. But moving forward, it's like you're not necessarily moving out of range of the attacks. You're just moving out of the corner. You're trying to move out the corner, so that way you can have more leeway of walking back, but you're still in the corner. So they have to make a big commitment. So this works out really well for Daigo, and this is why he becomes super aggressive when he's in this position. I'm assuming that jump back right here that he does was in anticipation of him doing EX dash into V trigger, because usually when you're negative and you place yourself outside of this range, a lot of Balrog players, when they just want that V trigger, they'll just immediately EX reversal dash punch. So that's why he jumps back and he does the jump back roundhouse. All right, the roundhouse, he does it late because he sees Balrog jumping with him, but the jump back primarily was to catch that dash punch attempt. That was a bad decision by Daigo, because if you look at the situation, he had all of this advantage. He had the spacing advantage, he had the block stun advantage. So for him to do that, it was like he was doing that so that, because he probably anticipated that Smug was gonna do low forward target combo into V trigger or something like that. So he's probably trying to just catch him pressing a button, so that way he has to guess the 50-50. Because if he whiffs, he's not gonna get punished, but he still has to guess. You know, because he can still block. If he whistles a forward, low forward, he has enough time to recover, but he'd be in a guessing situation at that point. I guess that's why he went for this. So that's, I don't know, like he could have just been going for information here, of course, but I wouldn't have done this if I was Daigo. Just because he had that advantage, he could have got information in other ways, you know, and still been more solid about it. But I think it's just the nature of the game that makes players kind of uncomfortable, so they just go for the harder read a lot. Because now this happens, now that 50-50 situation happens. So, and even if he flash kicks him, he's not dead. So it was just not a good situation to be in at all, in my opinion. Okay, so that was good. So we talked about how you know, Balrog's gonna want to move forward, right? And you see it right here, he walks forward before he jumps. He didn't just jump, see, so he walked forward because he's trying to sell him the idea. Imagine he's like a salesman, and Daigo's the customer. He wants Daigo to buy that he's moving forward, right? That he can, that not necessarily that he can move forward. So I'm gonna correct myself. He wants Daigo to buy into the idea that it's okay to fireball, or that it's okay to press a button. So that's why he walks forward, because he wants to sell him the idea. You know, hey customer, I want you to buy into this belief. Here, I'm gonna do this as a salesman so that you can believe this. You know, and Daigo doesn't bite, and flash kicks him. Nice. Okay. So you see how Smug is using his defense to try to turn it into offense. You see a lot of counter pokes. See, because that dash right there, when he dashed right there, Smug is very sharp in terms of adaptation. So he adapts really fast. He adapts on an immediate rhythm. So after that dash right here, he sees that, and then he says in his head, oh, Daigo's dashing. So you see, this is why he presses buttons. he starts to press buttons at this range, you know, because he's like, I don't want you to try to dash in or try to poke me, because you seem kind of aggressive right here. Granted, right there he's -2 after the Sabat kick, so if he does like a delay anything, he would get crush counted right here. But Daigo has no real reason to press anything here because he's not in grab range, and he still has Smug exactly where he wants him to be, right? But you see right there, when he taps him with the low forward, he does the stand fierce again. So this is showing a little bit of aggression on Smug's side. Oh, so this was really good. This was really subtle. I want you guys to pay attention to this. So he does the upside down kick, right? And he immediately does crouching light kick. And it catches Smug trying to dash. So this is a theme that ends up showing itself, revealing itself again in the end game, the very last situation, or it's like the second to last situation of the set when Smug wins, where off of a negative situation, Smug dashed. So if Daigo was alert of this, like, because Smug is starting to move into like the end game, he's transitioning into the end game. So smarter players, like, they are more disciplined in the end game, but they can still show this overexertion at times if they want to get out of a certain situation, or if they have access to meter. So if you pay attention to that when he does the dash, that could tell you a lot about what Smug might like to do in the end game, right? Where if you put him in a negative situation, he might like to dash because he got hit by this. Again, it was so fast, maybe Daigo didn't see the startup frames of the dash, but maybe if he does a delay, that's why delaying is good, because you can let the opponent show you more. He could have maybe seen the Balrog dashing into the low forward instead of him getting hit so early in the startup. But yeah, that's why he got hit. Okay, so this element right here, we talked about it on the Footsies episode. I believe it was the element, it was like in the 3rd chapter, when somebody jumps in on you with a heavy attack and you walk back, and you're a defensive player, and it might frustrate them because they think that you're going to stay still, so they might walk up and throw, but then you walked out of range. This is kind of the same thing that happens right here. You see Smug jumps in, right? And he hits him, and it doesn't really give him too much block stun, but he tries to walk up and throw him, but Daigo's holding back, and he does the crouching jab into EX. That's a very ST defensive tactic. So they've been doing that for years. You know, so like if you wanted to counter that, you can do a jump in and then just go for a low forward or something like that. So if you have the hit confirms, like, I'm very comfortable with hit confirming with Cammy, so I would not mind doing that. Some players, they might not like wanting to do that, so instead what they could do is, like, you know, do low forward into V trigger or something like that. See? And what did we talk about? He used the negative situation to dash up. Did I not just say that he does that in the end game? And look where his health is. Underneath 25%. See, so now Daigo, like, he starts to switch into attacking space. You know, instead of him fireballing, he's just now attacking and switching up his buttons, because the hitboxes and the hurt boxes might be able to nullify whatever mathematical attempts Smug is trying to do. So let's say, oh, you know, Smug is +2 in a situation, so he's trying to do a button that makes it that's 5 frame startup, and now it's 3 frames technically. But because of the hitbox of the move versus the hurt box of the move that your opponent's doing, it might whiff, you know. So like stuff like that is very subtle, but it's important. So let's see. So that was good. So he does that. I guess he was trying to read a dash punch, but Smug just dashed up and tried to do roundhouse. That's another thing to look at. So the dash up roundhouse, you know, like, so right there he's telling you, I think you're trying to do delay tech if I dash in. I think you instinctively flinch and do delay tech. And that's why it's so important to be, like, really aware of yourself as a player, because if you're aware of yourself as a player, then you can replace those habits with things like with logic in certain instances. So, you know, Daigo right there, he might not delay tech, but somebody else who's lesser disciplined and lesser skilled, they might delay tech, even though they don't realize they have health advantage, they have meter advantage, they have spacing advantage, you know, like any of those things that can come into account. Stun damage, stun advantage or whatever. Time advantage, you know, because if the time's working in your favor, like, there's some moments where you don't have to do that. It's okay to take the throw, especially if they don't have a throw loop off of it. That was good. Nice. See, so when Smug does that roundhouse twice, that's +3 on block, I believe, and it's mainly done because at the range that he does it at, that's where people do the medium poke. You see what I'm saying? So it hits him. But where people are doing medium pokes are generally slower. So when he does it and he does it again, like right here, the pushback pushes him back to a medium poke range. He's doing it again, just in case somebody's trying to counter poke or something like that, you know? So it works out, because if it does crush counter, then he can dash up and do target combo V skill, or he can just upper into massive amounts of damage and corner carry. That's like the risk reward of that character. See, so because Smug naturally delays, he gets hit by a lot of delay strings. That's why this works. Where is it? This into that, because he's doing a really slow upside down kick, and then Smug was doing I think that was stand medium, or was that stand light kick? Pretty sure it was stand light. Yeah, stand light kick. And then he gets hit again, because naturally he delays. Remember how I was talking about how he uses the delay to stop people from dashing? Because every time he's doing this, it's primarily because it's not going to reach if I block, obviously, if you look at the range. But at that exact range, if I were to try to close the gap, I would run into the button. Nice. See, and he got hit again. That's him trying to delay jab. Because if it hits, he can hit confirm it into EX dash, and then, you know. But that's what makes him dangerous as a player too, is when he's aware when people delay, or they hyper delay. So that's why he does the walk up and he just back throws him right there. See? And offensively, we talked about a couple weeks ago when we were talking about offense and we were analyzing Smug's offense, that he will use the stand jab at like max distance poke and dash immediately afterwards, because his dash looks really weird. It looks like a dash punch in a way, like the startup frames of a dash punch, so it might throw you off, you know. And then of course when somebody's using like a plus attack, you're expecting them to do a frame trap, so you're blocking, that way they can push themselves further out. But the smarter players will use that to their advantage to close the gap and reinitiate offense all over again. So then it's like, oh, I have to guess again, instead of the sequence just ending right there. Nice. So he's tagging with a lot of low forwards. He's catching him walking back. That was really good. So right there, someone got hit. I don't know why he got hit. Maybe he was trying to jump, but he definitely tried to retaliate somehow. The double roundhouse we talked about again. You see? Yeah, Smug is always ready for that. So like whenever he's like negative like this is how he walks up and does roundhouse, because he's trying to catch him doing a delay because he wants to get that damage. He wants to get this life advantage going on in his favor, all right? So that's why he does this. He blocks that and he walks up a little bit just to sell him, right, I'm gonna throw you maybe. But then he stops just short of even being in throw range, because usually like a really great player, they just see you moving forward and they're like, oh, if they already committed to a defensive answer, they're gonna just do it. Whatever their timing is, whatever the sequence is, they're gonna just do it. So him walking forward and doing the roundhouse early, he's thinking, hey, Daigo might delay tech. He might do delay something, so let me just walk short and just do it right away, the roundhouse. Right? Because if he waits and he tries to go deeper into the throw range, he's most likely going to get counter poked with the jab, and that can go into flash kick, and then he gets knocked down. And remember we said when Gal gets a knockdown with a flash kick, that's basically a flash, a sonic boom follow-up right there. against a majority of the cast. Some characters can punish it if they quick rise, but very unlikely for Balrog in this situation. So nice. Yeah, so that frame kill was not real. That wasn't. I think that was a mistake on his part. That was a good contest. That's really good that he did that. Oh no, actually, I was gonna say that it was good that he interrupted it, because he could have converted it into better damage, of course. But I think Daigo was kind of surprised. Oh, so that was really good. He could have killed him if he did EX. I think he thought the EX, that non-EX, was gonna kill, and then he's like, oh shit, it's not gonna kill, so let me just do this now. So you see that? So you see how he gets hit here, right? And at this spacing, usually what do guys do? They do the sabot kick, right? And he just turns that defensive situation into offense. See? So that's why he puts the button out there, even though Daigo was technically plus. He just understood because of the range. He's crouching, right? So he's crouching right here. And if Daigo does back fist goes over his head. If he does upside down kick, that would be really slow, and this button will counter poke it. If he does the sabot kick, that's really slow. So like the only thing Daigo could have really did was like back fist. Like, you know, instead of spinning knuckle, which is like the, you know, the when he like launches forward and does that, he could have did the back fist, which is back heavy punch, and he could have crush countered or something like that. But he's banking that Daigo's not gonna do that, because at this range it would whiff, obviously, right? He's not in range of it. So the only way for him to be in range of it, he'd have to move forward. So he's basically banking on it that Daigo's not expecting him to move forward. So Daigo's not going to do something that doesn't reach. Daigo's going to do something that does reach. If you look at the options, sabot kick, upside down kick, spinning back fist, whatever, like those are the main three. Or stand roundhouse, but that would also get counter hit. So you see how he can cover all four of these options by just doing the crouching medium punch. So it just makes sense. Might as well just go for it. And now he gets tagged here because I think he tries to do delay. So okay, you know how I said earlier that Smug likes to do delay a lot? So one of the strongest things you can do offensively is if you think your opponent is gonna wake up button or wake up 3-frame, like a 3-frame reversal, like a DP or something, you can do walk up delay for 2 frames, 3 frames, and then you could do back throw. What happens is if they do a reversal attack, Giles is a 4-frame reversal, so Smug would want to do it 5 frames. He'd want to wait 5 frames to press the button. So let's say he delay blocks. He's doing block for 4 frames, and the 5th frame he does throw. If Guile does wake up EX flash kick, he would block it. If he does wake up button, he would block it. The only way for him to lose this situation is if Guile delays something that hits him when he's, you know, delaying his button input. So that's why Daigo does the wake up low forward, because he probably thinks that Smug is gonna shimmy, and you know he just senses that Smug is anticipating a reversal, and I'm not gonna reversal. All right, so if he anticipates reversal and he does a walk back, because he can still block and walk back, it's gonna hit him. If he thinks he's gonna shimmy, he'll still hit him with low forward. If he does delay button, it's still gonna hit him. That's why he gets counter hit. You see? And then he gets this. So. Alright. So this opening sequence it stems off of the previous round where Smug does the walk up and he does the jump, and Guile's Guile, you know, Daigo, he's waiting to see like what adjustments have you made in the opening sequence. Are you still going to revert back to what occurred, or are you going to be disciplined and approach this as a completely new thing? All right, that's why they both just kind of wait there. You see? All right, and you see how he used that -2 situation? See? Nice. So Remember earlier I was mentioning when we talked about how Gao's gonna stop him from moving forward. He's gonna probably do it after button pokes. But the thing is, at this range, where he does hit him with the stand medium kick, that's the perfect range for Balrog to react to Fireball. Because he'll still be able to hit him, and the further away you are from Fireball, the easier it is to react, obviously, right? But you don't want to be too far away, because if he's too far away, then Guile will recover faster than the Fireball gets to him, meaning he'll be at an advantage. So by the time the Fireball got to Balrog, if they were like full screen, Guile would be able to walk up and back fist him or something crazy like that, which you're going to probably see. I think it's this round. But he stays at this range, and this is the perfect range for Smug to look for Fireball. And, you know, Daigo puts the Fireball there thinking this is okay, I can do this, but no. Nice. Okay, so this is another element, Footsies element. So remember we were talking about, it was in one of the Footsies chapters about jumping, the skill, you know, skillful jumping, and how if somebody jumps at you, if you jump while they're jumping in on you, you can create a cross-up situation, like a mix-up situation off of their own offense. This is exactly what just happened. So this was really dope. So you see he throws a Fireball, and Smug tries to jump. He sees the jump, and he now jumps on top of him. Doesn't press anything, because if he pressed something, he would have been fatter. He would have got hit by that jumping, was that medium punch? But he does the jump on top of him, and he gets this mix-up. Smug's not seeing that. He wasn't expecting that. Okay, so that jump back is that's very important. The reason why I say this is important is because this was a very strange situation. I don't think Smug did this yet. I don't think he jumped up like this. But the fact that it happened after such a peculiar situation, it happened right after the hard read, you know, I'm gonna jump on your jump in. Usually when something really strange like that happens, people kind of resort back to this, you know, like they have a behavior. Well, every player does this, where they are in a confused state, and when they're confused, they do something very specific. All right, so when he jumps right here, you know, if Daigo were to review this, I hope he would see this, that the fact that he just jumped like that, you know, when he could have backdashed, he could have delayed teched, but he just jumped after that situation, that might have told him like, hey, this is the best option for me to get comfortable, for me to start my offense, you know, because this is a really big commitment for you to jump in the corner like that. So, but of course, Daigo wasn't looking for that, so that definitely threw him off. But like another character that would, like players that would probably be aware, like just used to that situation, are dive kick characters, because you know usually people neutral jump against dive kick characters. Not many people neutral jump against Guile. Why would you do that? You know, so that's something that Daigo probably doesn't practice against often. But if it was like a Cammy, you know, people like to neutral jump against Cammy players. Well, Cammy player, they would see the neutral jump and they would be just a lot more reflexive. Like they just would react a lot quicker, you know. So. Okay, so go back to this. So this is the second opening. So you see how Smug is still doing, now he does the walk forward again, right? But now he's like walking and crouching. He's back to his bulldog playstyle. And then he tries to dash. Because he's looking for information. He wants to see like, okay, I know that I jumped at you and you anti-aired me. And then the second time, nothing happened. We just sat there. And then he slowly increases his risks. That's how Smug plays. So he doesn't go brazen like, I'm going to increase my risk and do the craziest thing right now. He gets comfortable slowly. You know, like how a crab walks? Like a crab is like this. They don't really walk straight. They like this, right? So like that's how he's increasing his risk. He's like slowly escalating it. So you see how he went from the jump in and then it didn't work. So then he dialed it all the way back to 0. And then he's like, okay, let me increase it a little bit. Okay, shit, this didn't work. All right. So the next round, he's just like, okay, now let me be more observant. And then he looks for the confirmation, and then that's when he dashed. That's why he dashed right there, because he was looking for it. We talked about it. Crouching means somebody's looking for information, you see? So You see, it's so funny because watching him get hit, you can literally see the example I just talked about, how he increases his risks like every time, right? Watch. What does he do? He tries to do V skill. He increased his risk. And he got hit, and then he dials it back, and he blocks, right? But then he increases it again, and now he's getting hit. And now he tries to walk up. He's like, all right, let me dial it back a little bit. Let me walk up. But then he got hit. And then he tries to increase his risk again. See, so it's like, it's constant this. And that's what probably makes people have a hard time against him, because they think he's going to play so solid, and he does. But it doesn't mean that he's not susceptible to taking a risk. It's just figuring out, when is he taking the risk? What is the rhythm of his risk taking, right? See, that's why Daigo's whiffing that. He's like, yo, why aren't you being active anymore? Oh, I'm convinced now. All right. See, now Smug is like, all right, I'm dial it back. Nice. That's interesting. Like, you could use that against him. Like, if you're in the end game, you don't have to really take like a crazy risk, because you just, if you caught onto his rhythm, you'd be like, well, right now he's kind of in that state where he's still trying to figure out how much risks he wants to take, right? So now we see this. He goes right back to walking forward. So now it's like, okay, now I'm expecting increased risk, you see? So now he's pressing buttons. See? Now you're getting the active Smug. Now Smug's being more active this round. So now maybe Daigo could use that against him, see? Look at that. Look at that, see? So now everything it's all flowing back to what we talked about. See, now that walk back, especially because he's a charge character, and Smug, he's like, this is relatively new for him, playing a charge character, because he didn't play a charge character in 4. So he is susceptible to body language that is obvious. Like, if he is so asphyxiated on something, you can actually use this to your advantage, where he starts walking back like this, then you know EX is about to come, especially if you look at his bar. Like, look at his bar, look what he has, you know? So if I were Daigo, like, if I'm aware of this, if I'm Daigo, then he, instead of whiffing the low forward, he could have whiffed right here, he could have whiffed crouching short and then just did like a back fist, and he could have dashed right into it. NuckleDu's really good at that piecing together movement. Like, he can really focus on how his opponent moves, and he can use that against him. He's really good at that. Rewind it a little bit. Okay. So like right there, like that small situation of Smug dashing up and still doing the button even though Daigo's above him, that shows that he's starting to get tunnel vision. All right. So if somebody gets tunnel vision like this, it's really important to just not play too like methodical. You know, don't try to play like, oh, I think he's gonna do this because, you know, and he's smart enough to, like, no, because now it's more so emotional driven, right? Because he's just kind of like focusing on doing X. He doesn't care if he sees Y and Z, any other variables. He just wants to create this outcome to feel comfortable, to feel safe. See, like the fact that he did V skill right here and no fireball came out. Like, and he's moving back, mind you. Like that could tell you right there that Smug he's starting to become narrow-minded in this approach. Like, he was much more fluid, you know, in the other aspects of the game, but now he's getting a lot more just selfish in his play, if that makes sense. He's not really paying attention as much to Daigo, because this right here, like, Smug never really whiffs this unless he's, you know, there's something going on upstairs that's making him do this, right? But Daigo's not aware of it. So Daigo's moving back for a completely wrong reason. So he's moving back to do for other things, whatever his agenda is. I don't know, but if he was you know, just taking more time to just understand like the tension that Smug's building up in his mind, then he could have been prepared for that. But of course, this is why you watch your matches and stuff like that, to see what skills you don't have or you aren't developing, you know. All right, so that was. So he's trying to hit him, trying to dash punch, but nothing's coming out. So that was good. That was a great defensive decision, because he understood that at that range he has charge. It's not worth him trying to counter hit the Balrog, right? Because if he messes up and he gets hit by this, he's dead, because he has bar. He's gonna turn that into EX. It's just not worth it, right? So he's making him use his V gauge if he cancels into something, right? So let's see, but he doesn't cancel into it. But so could he have punished that? Let me see, what range was that? Yeah, he probably could have punished it with stand light kick into EX flash kick, or into heavy flash kick, but oh, see, so right there, that was unfortunate. Just a timing thing. See, so that delay, he tries to. This is why it's not worth it against him as a player to do like really laggy things, unless there's like intent behind it, you know. Because Daigo's he's just trying to hit him because he's crouching. But yeah. All right, so he starts off aggressive. Yep. And usually when he has aggression, he follows it up with a jump in. Something to be mindful of. Right, same spacing as last time when he did the stand medium kick and then he did the fireball. It was the same exact spacing, same exact like part of the stage and everything. Caught him on the delayed jab again. Nice. So right there, Daigo does a delay jab, delay throw after the -2 situation. Has to do walk up throw actually, and Smug walks back. So you know, if he's playing against like a character with a great low forward conversion, it's cancelable like normal. Then somebody like a Ken could do low forward into super, or you know, Kami could do low forward spiral arrow, EX spiral arrow, and then he's in the corner. Like you can just transition your defense into offense like that. Nice. So he walked up and tried to do the jump in, just so he could get out of the corner, and it worked. He does the delay jab, right? And at that range, if he does the stand medium punch or stand medium kick, I believe, it would have whiffed, and he would have got a jump in combo off of it. So that's a very difficult button for Guile to deal with. That jump in, I don't know if that's medium punch or, but this button is, because if he doesn't have charge, stand medium kick would probably get hit by this. Oh, nice. How do you get hit by that? I think he's trying to jump. Wow. Nice. Wow. So what was the reason that he flash kicked? What made him do that? Ah, so he saw the twitch. So if you look at this really quick, see how if you look at this really quick, you're gonna see Balrog kind of just like shuffle right there. Right there. That's like what helped him react to it. So if he whiffs a jab and just dashes immediately afterwards, you don't see the shuffle. Nice. So this is exactly what we talked about. That's exact spacing, how he would V-skill there. So that's how Daigo adapted. And he does the back fist off of it. Or the spinning knuckle. Keep mixing up the two moves. The spinning back fist. Is that what it is? I don't know. Whatever. That's besides the point. So you see this, the same instance as match 1, round 1. Where he catches him with the sweep V-trigger. Again, he tries to walk up and throw him afterwards. But again, see if like he was super aware of it, then he could have just did sweep. Sometimes you gotta do those hard reads, you know? Like if not now at the end of a match where he could potentially kill him, he could have done it earlier in the match, earlier in a set, so that way later on it works into his favor because it's something that Smug has to think about. Because if you don't have to think about it, if I'm not giving you a reason to think in a certain situation, then you can just keep doing things over and over again, not worrying about repercussions. He has no V reversal, so that was really good. So that caught him because he's expecting the second hit, and it kind of looks like it, and he gets the back though. That's negative though. If he knows he's doing that, then he can interrupt it. But yeah. Now this match right here, I think Daigo just counter hits him to death. Nice. Nice. See, also, we mentioned earlier about how Guile is going to want to punish the opposing character for trying to get around the fireball. That's how he does the slow fireball, and he jumps on top of him, anticipating the V skill. And he got that massive jump-in combo. We see the double roundhouse. Daigo does the sweep when he has V-trigger, so you can use that against him. That would be a good time for Smug to jump in on him. Or even neutral jump on him, because Guile moves forward on his sweep, so you can even neutral jump against him when you think he's gonna sweep you. That was good. Nice. So that's the catch him walking forward like he's been doing like in a lot of the opening gambits. That's funny. Uh-oh, so this is the round where, yep. This is the round where he just constantly just hits him just for trying to get away. Look how much damage he's already taken. See? Nice. He probably thought Daigo was gonna flash kick. That's why he didn't press anything. Because usually whenever Smug would press something, right? Whenever like he blocked in that situation. Or was it? Let me run a little bit. So whenever Smug would block this situation, he would walk back if he wasn't in throw range. But because I guess, you know, he was obviously in throw range, and he blocked it, he's probably like, you know what, I'm gonna just see if I can turn this into my own offense. Sometimes it's worth it just taking the throw, even though you're plus. Just because if Daigo flash kicks, he can turn this into Daigo having 15% life lead, but also being in the corner now. You know? So you wouldn't be able to walk back out of that -2 situation because he's still in throw range. So if somebody does immediate throw, it would beat all of his buttons, and on top of that, he'd get thrown anyways. So usually when he does the back walk, it's when he knows that they're not exactly in their throw range and they want to move up a little bit. So then he can turn that into a whiff punish situation, and then he gets offense off of it. Let's see. All right. Alright, so the Daigo stops attacking the space, and that's when Smug sneaks in the dash and nice, and that's exactly what we talked about. The slow boom, and then he punishes him for trying to V-skill too late. And he's trying to wait for the fireball to get close to him. Wow, that was really good. Nice. And he uses the -2 situation against him. Good use of V reversal. Especially because he already has the advantage. It's good to use your V reversal against your opponent's V trigger. Especially if they consume their gauge when they do something. Oh, that was really good. Find it a little bit. I don't know what button Smug pressed there, so. All right, let me see what I talked about when he buffers. When he just throws it out there at that range, it's very difficult to stop. You know, you can whiff punish it, but you have to be on point, especially if you're in a zoning mindset. And this is just typical Balrog ground. Okay. Wow. That is unfortunate. I think that ruined everything. Good use of your reversal. And he tried to catch him on the -2. Damn. So right here, see the low forward? Where's it? Low forward, and he dashes up. See, this is what I was talking about. The end game. He could have turned that into a stand fierce. He could have dashed into a stand fierce, crouch strong, flash kick, and he would have been dead. And yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles. So it was a really good set. There was a lot to take away from it. You've seen a lot of elements of things that we talked about and all that good jazz. So it was a pretty good set. I enjoyed it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the analysis today. Let me know what you guys think. Hit me up on my Twitter. Feel free to follow me over there. Follow me on my YouTube also. Follow me on my Twitch, obviously. If you're enjoying this, feel free to also throw a sub my way. Twitch Primes, also always appreciated. You know what I'm saying? Let your friends know about the stream. And yeah, I hope you guys took away a lot from the experience today. So it is something different. Obviously, I'm not here live with you guys, but I still wanted to contribute to the best of my abilities today because I do have to go handle some stuff. But I'll upload this archive to my YouTube channel when I get back home tonight. And yeah, so the next time I'll see you guys is on Saturday. I'm gonna have a stream for my subs. I'm gonna pick 3 subs of mine, and we're gonna do a first to 5 analysis, or we learn a character with each of the 3 players that I'm gonna choose. So it's gonna be fun. And of course, as always, thank you guys for your time. That's something you can never get back. So much love to you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. All right, peace.